I call the Monday, November 18th, 2024 meeting of the Louisa County Board of Supervisors to order. Mr. Barlow.
I move that we convene in closed session pursuant to the following subsections of Virginia Code 2.2, 3711. 1. In accordance with Section 2.2, 3711A1, discussion, consideration, or interviews of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, discipline, or resignation of specific public officers, appointees, or employees of any public body. And 2, in accordance with Section 2.2, 3711A5, discussion concerning a prospective business or industry or the expansion of an existing business or industry in the Mountain Road District where no previous announcement has been made of the business or industry's interest in locating or expanding its facilities in the community. And 3, in accordance with Section 2.2, 3711A8, consultation with legal counsel employed or retained by a public body regarding specific legal matters requiring the provision of legal advice by such counsel.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded. We go into closed session. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. We're in closed session. Been properly moved and seconded, we go back into open session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I will now poll members to certify that to the best of your knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from the open meeting requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act and as identified in the motion for which the closed meeting was convened were discussed and considered by the board. If any member believes that the board varied from the purposes stated for the closed meeting, please state so and the reason prior to casting a vote. Mr. McCotter?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Yes. Mr.
Yes.
Barlow? Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Mr. Woodward?
Yes.
We're back into open session. This is the Monday, November the 18th, 2024 meeting of the Louisa County Board of Supervisors. I'd like to welcome those of you who are here in attendance in the public meeting room and those who are watching online. We will start tonight's meeting, as we always do, with the invocation by Mr. Williams, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd like to join us, please stand.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we come to you this evening in all of you and who you are and what you've done for us through your Son, Jesus Christ, Father. Father, as these proceedings take place tonight, we pray that your hand will be here and that we will serve the people of Louisa County well and do your will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first item of business is the adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
And properly moved and seconded, we adopt the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next item is the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded, we approve the minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. The next item is the approval of the bills.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded, we approve the bills. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next item is the approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Question.
Motion.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
The Mr. Chairman, I apologize. I wanted to move the 225 holiday schedule off the consent agenda. Sorry.
You want to put it on there? New business action items?
Yeah, put on new business action.
I'll accept that as an amendment to the motion.
All right, who did the second? Okay. All right, so the motion is to approve the revised consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next up is a recognition. We do have recognition tonight. It's posthumous recognition and appreciation of Mr. Cy Weaver.
Thank you, Chairman Adams. My name is John Disasway. I'm the Chair of the Planning Commission. I have the honor of presenting or reading the posthumous resolution in appreciation of Cy Alexander Weaver Sr. Whereas Cyrus Alexander Weaver Sr. was an active and valuable member of the Louisa County Planning Commission from January 2016 through August 2024, providing nearly 9 years of faithful and dedicated service to the county. And whereas through his leadership, dedication, knowledge, and expertise as a Planning Commission member, Mr. Weaver served and represented all citizens of Louisa County during that time, resulting in many accomplishments. And whereas among his many accomplishments, he was an active leader on the Planning Commission and in the Louisa County community for the 2040 Louisa County Comprehensive Plan Update in 2019, the guiding document for future county growth of the county, and the 2021 Comprehensive Update to the Land Development Regulations containing the zoning and subdivision requirements for future growth. And whereas because of his knowledge and understanding of the community and the zoning laws and regulations of Louisa County, Mr. Weaver acted on requests in a manner that was in harmony with the intended spirit and purpose of the ordinances and kept his primary concern for the safety and welfare of all citizens of Louisa County. And whereas his tireless efforts and enthusiasm in representing Louisa County earned him the respect of local residents and fellow commission members, and he served as an outstanding example of public service to the county. And whereas the commission gratefully acknowledges his efforts in bringing a sensible and reasonable approach to the application of county ordinances and holds in high regard the distinction and service he gave on behalf of the citizens of the county, now therefore it be resolved on this 14th day of November 2024 that the Louisa County Planning Commission posthumously extends its appreciation and gratitude to Cyrus Alexander Weaver Sr. for his contribution and dedication to Louisa County. I had the pleasure of sitting next to Cy Weaver for 7 years, my entire time on the Planning Commission, and I can say that he was very much dedicated to balancing the rights of the individual with the needs of the community in Louisa County. I could always count on him as a reliable yes when we had a vote for anything that had to do with students or student athletes in the county. And I could always guarantee or rely on him as a solid no whenever we had a vote to extend the Planning Commission meeting beyond 10 o'clock at night.
Yes, you could.
So I would like to say that on behalf of those commissioners who are not here, Commissioner Brooks, Commissioner Dickerson, Commissioner Quarles, and Commissioner Kersey, and the Louisa member, Mr. Purcell, and the Mineral Town Council, or the Mineral member, Mr. Jarvis, I would like to say that we all have great respect for Cy and for what he's done for the county, and to include the commission members that are here, Commissioner Goodwin. So we very much appreciate working with Cy in the time we had with him and the wisdom that he provided.
I want to say one or two things first, and then we'll stand up. Cy's wife, Jackie's here. And the good news is that John read most of this, so I don't have to cry. Cy came on the board with me in 2016 and served faithfully beside me, always wanting to do what was best for our community. And you never had any wonder where he stood. He stood firmly into doing what was best for the community. And that wasn't always what was popular. But nonetheless, he was steadfast, and he was my commissioner for the better part of 9 years. The community lost a titan the day Cy died. We were fortunate. We had 6 extra years with him. He had a heart attack that should have taken him out 6 years previously, and he survived that. Jackie, we love you. We love Cy too. And I have a similar resolution that reads very closely to Mr. Disasway's. I'm not going to reread one, but on behalf of the Board of Supervisors in the County of Louisa, we recognize Cy for who he was and what he's done, and he will be sorely missed. So we would like to present these to you at this time. Come on up, Jackie. Don't worry about that. Come on. You come on. I'll take care of it. You come on this way. Thank you. Pictures. You're good. You want to say anything?
Anybody want to add anything?
Mr. Chair, I would like to say I was fortunate enough to spend 4 years on the Planning Commission with Cy Weaver. And I knew him from watching him play basketball and football down at the high school when I was growing up. And he was absolutely a superstar then. I think he still holds a state record in amount of points in a game or something, and this is way before three-point shooting was there. But he just truly was an asset, not just to the Jackson district, but to the whole county. His heart was just, his love for Louisa County was really pretty unmatched. So for him to spend all those years in Charlottesville, he actually coached me when I played JV football in 8th grade, and then he left and went to Charlottesville. And for him to move back here and spend those years and to spend his time serving the people of Louisa, that's Cy Weaver. So we certainly all miss him. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Byrd.
I had the fortunate of being involved, aside from political perspective and as a coach. And when I was basketball coach at Louisa, Cy never let me forget that the three-point line wasn't there. And had it been, he would have been the leading scorer. And he never let me forget it. But I will never forget when I go to track meets and you hear the gun go off, you know it's Cy Weaver. And he will see me and say, "Fritz, I told you weren't gonna be here long." And we weren't gonna be there long either. But a great man, and he did the county proud.
I would just add to that, I never knew Mr. Weaver until I was elected to the Board of Supervisors, but in all of my dealings with him, he was an honest, straightforward man who was concerned about what was best for Louisa County. And it's people like Mr. Weaver who serve the county without wanting recognition, without wanting to grab a headline, but just come and do their job and try to preserve the county that they live in and look out for the best interests of the county. And it's people like that that every day make this county and other counties go round and round. And he, I suspect, wouldn't be thrilled with all this recognition tonight and all of us talking about him. But it's the best of what public service and community service is about. So he's certainly missed on the Planning Commission, and I'm sure he's missed by his family. So we will move on to the public comment period. The public comment period is an opportunity for you to address the board on anything that is not a public hearing. We do have one public hearing tonight. When I call your name, come to the podium, give your name, your voting district. We'll give you 3 minutes to speak. I'll give you a 15-second warning when you have 15 seconds. First speaker is Vicki Hart.
Good evening. Vicki Hart, Town of Louisa. What I want to talk to you about is the appearance of a lack of concern by the board for current and future taxpayers in our county. As we look at the future income for the Amazon Web Services, data centers, and possibly any other opportunities that are not exactly here yet, we also have the wants that we're taking care of, the AstroTurf soccer field, the indoor pool that everybody has been asking for, the skate park, the indoor plumbing for the county parks, the Louisa and Mineral Future Plan Development, which we're looking at 1,500 new units of apartments and houses between just those two alone. That does not count the county. Dam replacement at Bowlers Mill, the sewage plant costs for the Lake Anna sewage waste treatment plant update to get it in compliance, and the upcoming work to be done at the one in the town of Louisa, which will be in the millions. And now we're also going to give additional money to Amazon Web Services for infrastructure. So I would like to remind you that when I came to work here, there were 4 units at North Anna. not 2. But economic reality changed that to 2. We are counting our chickens before the eggs are hatched. And you need to be careful because you are piling on all of this debt, and not yet we have no guarantee that that income will surface. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The next speaker is Andrew Gordon.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Andrew Gordon. I assume Town of Louisa, but I'm a new business owner based at the Stafford Regional Airport. First off, I just want to say how reassuring it is as a small business owner to see such a symbol of solidarity and warmth in the community for another leader that has passed on. I can't tell you how appropriate I find that and how reassuring as someone that's bringing in a team of skilled professionals into this county. So I appreciate you all taking the time to do that, and it certainly struck a chord with me. I started Ace Flight Solutions, which is a general aviation maintenance, fleet management, and upgrade service in 2019 with the mindset of bringing together a like-minded group of both young people and highly skilled professionals with the purpose of trying to bring together that tribal knowledge. And I consider ourselves to be mechanics in the traditional sense of the word. We try to go out and provide a top quality service that focuses on safety and client longevity for the partnership that we bring to the table. We're very excited to partner with the county, and I tell you, I actually have roots here already. I have family here that grew up here, 2 cousins, an uncle and an aunt, and remember both positive bus rides home, because I grew up in Goochland County playing against the Lions. I remember some good bus rides home and some not so good bus rides home for you guys. So some very positive memories already dealing with Louisa. I have 1 branch already set in Stafford County and was looking to expand. Have had my eye on the wonderful resource that we have at the Louisa County Airport for the last about year and a half, looking for the best possible fit for our expansion. We're very happy to be here. Ace Flight Solutions is also focusing up in Stafford, and we hope to bring this drive down to Louisa as well. We're setting up with the Stafford County Public School System a 3-part training program that essentially takes middle schooler and young high schoolers, exposes them to the STEM opportunities in aviation, see if they have an interest in it, and then as they go through high school, they can take curriculum training that will present them with an opportunity to get an airframe maintenance technician certification. Then that proceeds into the Virginia Community College system, where they can continue their training into a full airframe and power plant mechanic. Those jobs right out of the gate are paying in excess of $60,000 to $70,000 per year. So we hope to partner with the county in any way that we can. We thank you very much for your support, and we look forward to doing business here in Louisa. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next card is Phil Winston.
Hello, everyone. My name is Phil Winston. I reside in the Mineral District. I had to think where I was for a minute. I miss seeing you all. I haven't been here in a while, so I figured I'd come by and say, hey, had nothing else to do on a Monday night but hang out here. But I had a question. So I know that your chairman is looking for a promotion to move on and do something else, serving the community. And I was wondering, how do we go about selecting his replacement? I went on the website. I could not find my answer. I thought, well, I could call Dwayne directly, but I just come here and get the question answered, and then maybe the rest that are watching at home can have the answer then too. So that's the only reason I'm here. So if you care to answer the question, I know that's not the normal procedure, but if you would, I'd appreciate it. If not, I'm sure Wayne will call me in the morning.
Thank you, Mr. Winston. Thank you, Mr. Winston. Well, as is the board's customary procedure, we don't reply during public comment period, but I'll give you a call in the morning.
Okay.
And you're a very optimistic guy.
First he has to win.
That's all the cards that I have. Is there anyone else that would wish to address the board during this public comment period? All right, seeing none, I'll close the public comment period, and we'll move on to information and discussion items. The first is a discussion, an update on animal control ordinance. Mr. Goodwin?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I'll be very brief. We had a concerned citizen come and talk about some animal issues in the county at the last meeting, and we'd had some other folks reach out to us about concerns more specifically related to the dogs running at large ordinance. And just wanted to let you all know that I've met with members of the sheriff's office. They're here tonight, Chief Ellison and Major Roberts. And they've been kind enough to provide some good feedback on the ordinance in a way that we can make it more effective going forward. So staff will be working in the coming week or so on an update to that ordinance, and I'll present it at a future meeting very soon for your consideration.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Goodwin? All right, thank you, sir. Next would be a resolution to approve the holiday schedule. Mr. Barnes, you asked for that to be moved under discussion
Yes.
items.
I'm gonna be quickly. First, quick. First, I apologize to the board. But when I saw this schedule, I have no problem with it. The only question I do have is next year, December 31st, I would like to see us make that day a half day, because it's New Year's Eve. A lot of families like to be with families on New Year's Eve. And if you don't change it, you're gonna have a lot of employees take leave, which is not gonna be a very productive day anyhow on that day. But having a half day on New Year's Eve, I think gives people a chance to be with their families.
What day does that fall on of the week?
It's a Wednesday.
It's a
Yeah,
Wednesday.
New Year's Eve is Wednesday, January 1st is Thursday.
That's next year?
Next year.
Yeah, so that would put us into 26 on January the 1st. So January 2nd, which is a Friday, since New Year's is on a Thursday, what would Friday be the day after that? I know that's the 26th
A normal
schedule.
work day.
But would that be a normal work day, or would? Okay. Just a question.
And I certainly respect the fact that we got to do the business of the government. But the New Year's Eve, like I said before, is a time where people spend time with families. And a half a day, I think, would give them opportunity to get home to be with their family.
So your motion is to accept as it is with amending New Year's Eve to a half day off?
day, yes.
What are we doing this year? Is it a New Year's Eve a full day?
Help me out. Do you know off the top of your head?
Well, she knows.
2024?
Hang on. We'll look it up.
It's a Friday this year? Okay.
New Year's Eve's not Friday this year.
I'm sorry, it's not.
It's like a Tuesday. It's like
Okay.
a Tuesday.
I don't have my calendar in front of me.
I think we just get the first off.
So,
So it's,
This past year, New Year's Eve was on a Sunday, so we didn't factor that in.
Right. And I'm certainly respectful of it, but I would like to see us make that a half, New Year's Eve a half day.
here, but the following.
The following year, yeah.
We get Wednesday, January 1st off on 2025. That's part of this holiday schedule. That's in front of you right now.
Yeah, but I think Miss
so confused.
Jones' question
We're talking
was-
about 2026.
Yeah, but you're talking about
You're talking about 2025. That's what we're talking about. And she's, on December 31st, it flips to January 1, and she's saying January 1 is, you're voting on now?
Right.
January 1, and you're voting on December 31st of
31st,
2025 being a half day is what Mr. Barnes is
That's what
suggesting.
I'm
Yeah.
They're 12 months apart. They're 364 days
Gotcha,
apart.
I got that part. Okay.
Yes.
So are you moving?
Motion?
I'm
to
moving to
amend-
do that, to amend the calendar to allow for a half day on next year's calendar.
December
Oh, yeah.
31st, 2025.
Second.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Question,
Yes.
who does that include? What employees does that include?
So that's anyone who would not be on, so that would exempt the public safety folks who work on 24-hour shifts or provide critical services. It doesn't include them. It would be closing
get
the county
another day.
offices.
It doesn't impact schools. Schools have their own schedule.
Nope.
Everything's good.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Let's see. Now is a discussion update on animal control ordinance.
Nope, you already done
Did we already do that?
Yep.
Did we? Okay.
Been there, done that.
Okay, I'm sorry. New business. Resolution authorizing the execution of a comprehensive agreement and design-build contract under the Public-Private Education Facilities and Infrastructure Act of 2002 for new water and wastewater public infrastructure. Mr. Wade.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, members of the board, good evening. Is this on?
Maybe.
We can't tell from back
Hard to say,
here.
not knowing.
Good. Lost my train of thought.
Ruined him.
Before I jump into the agreements, there's a comprehensive agreement before you and a design build contract for your consideration tonight. Just a general reminder that later in the agenda, there's a public hearing that are directly tied to these two documents, and that you should reserve taking formal action on these two documents till after the public hearing has concluded, if you will. So the comprehensive agreement is the agreement that identifies the roles and responsibilities of the parties to the agreements. The parties are the County of Louisa and Louisa County Infrastructure LLC, which is a joint venture between Faulkner Construction and MEB, and Timmons is a sub-consultant to the JV on the design side. You'll notice the public hearing dollar amount is for a much greater amount than the design build contract. The design build contract's for $55 million. The public hearing budget supplements for $87 million. The reason for that is AWS has green lighted the $55 million, and what we're going to do as we work through the design phase is value engineer the project, and we hope that we can realize some cost savings as we value engineer the project. And if we do realize cost savings, there's no question that the contract amounts can be greater than the 55 that you're considering tonight. So in any event, whether we find cost savings or not, I'll have to come back to the board and ask to amend the contract price and the contract scope
It's
at
like a
some
maximum.
point in the future.
87 is like a maximum guaranteed price.
87 is inclusive of the design build team's lump sum not to exceed price. It's inclusive of the cost to acquire the easements from the property owner, and it's inclusive of JMT's contract, which you will consider next. And AWS is paying 100% of all the costs of this project.
Would you repeat that, please?
AWS is paying 100% of the cost of this
Like
project.
all of it?
All of it.
Like none of it we're paying for?
We're not paying for any of
We're
it.
just like standing in the front, and they're going to send a check, and then we're going to pay the vendors? Is that how that works, Mr. Wade?
Correct.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Excuse me. And I apologize once again to the board. I'm just a country boy, and I'm a little slow on some things. So who's paying for this?
Amazon Web Services.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Good.
So Louisa County residents not paying for this?
Not one penny.
Not one
Okay,
penny.
I'm sorry, board, for being redundant. I just want to make sure that it was presented as who was paying for it. Thank you.
But in that same vein, and I'm not going to ask the same question, but this is important because I don't ever respond on social media, but I do read it sometimes when I have nothing else to do. Who owns the infrastructure?
Yeah, so the county will build it and own it and operate it in perpetuity.
Okay.
County will build it, own it, Amazon will pay for it, and we will own it how long?
Forever.
Forever, okay.
And Amazon paying for it?
We're not paying for it,
And they're
right?
buying water at the other end of it, is that right? They're paying for the water when it gets there?
At the regular rate.
They're paying a finished rate for water for raw water?
That is correct, too.
Oh, good, okay.
Okay.
That seems profitable.
Yes.
In the lines of this questioning, we're not borrowing any money for this project, are we?
We're not borrowing money for
Okay.
this project.
And thought about that. Good approach.
Go ahead.
So as we move through the design phase, we're going to do due diligence on site. The $55 million allows us to take care of some of the long lead time items, which are the easement acquisition, the certain project components associated with the pipeline and the pump station. Some of those are long lead time items. Also allows the design build team to lock in material pricing now for the duration of the project. So as we get out and do due diligence, we'll do rock exploration and geotech drilling along the raw water pipeline. There's a chance I'll have to come back. We may have to do another public hearing to amend that dollar amount even further to account for a rock allowance that we didn't want to guess at this go around, but that we're going to formulate as we move through the design phase. So if that is the case, then we will obviously advertise that as required by county policy code and bring that back at a later date.
So when you talk about the rock allowance, and I think I remember this discussion, but how deep, when it's drilled, will the pipe be?
Yeah, so under any wetlands features or environmental features, you have to be 20 feet to prevent fracking. Fracking would mean the water,
drain out
in
the
the
wetland.
stream could go down through if it's too shallow or the depth is too shallow under the feature. So it'll be 20 feet in the ground under those environmental features.
Okay.
And at that depth, you're obviously going to probably encounter rocks, so that's why we're doing the due diligence. It's best to, just for the public purpose, an allowance is something that you audit in the field, and you only get that as you encounter it, on a contract basis. So if you bill, you establish a unit price and a quantity for a linear foot of rock, and that's what you bill when you hit it. Our goal with this scenario is just to establish a lump sum price not to exceed rock that we're comfortable with and the design build team is comfortable with, and then we don't have to audit the rock allowance in the field. So it's going to be a fixed price for rock as well, over and above.
But it really doesn't matter because we're not paying for it.
I've heard that, yes, sir.
Okay.
So how much of this total pipeline is, I'd like to get this on the record, how many miles, and then how much do we think is going to be drilled?
Yeah, it's roughly 11 miles and then about 21,000 linear feet of horizontal directional drilling.
Okay.
So
That's good. I want to change
11
it.
and 4 miles.
Yeah, yeah, okay. All right.
That concludes my remarks unless you have any questions or comments.
I think you answered them all.
regarding
Yeah.
So we're going to hold action on this
You'll take
after the
action
public
on this
hearing?
after the
Huh?
public hearing.
You need to table this or just let it sit?
Just a,
Just let it sit?
Nothing.
Come back to it? Okay.
so next is a resolution awarding a contract to Johnson, Miriam, and Thompson JMT to perform third-party engineering and construction management services for public water and wastewater. Mr. Wade.
Yeah, that's right. So, Mr. Chair, JMT is our third-party consultant. There are eyes and ears in the field, so they'll be monitoring this project as construction progress evolves. They'll be in charge of monthly meetings, monthly reports to AWS since they're paying for it. They want a lot of documentation as we submit bills for payment and things of that nature. So JMT will be our third-party consultant, and this too is part of the project cost that AWS is paying for.
Any questions? All right. So we'll maybe have you back during the public hearing. Thank you,
Thank
sir. Next is a resolution appointing an assessor for the county of Louisa, and we have the Commissioner of Revenue, Stacy Fletcher. Ms. Fletcher.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the board. I would like to introduce Terry Bourne. Ms. Bourne has 37 years of real estate appraiser experience. She has worked as an assessor, a senior real estate appraiser in several localities throughout her career, as well as working for the Department of Taxation as a senior appraisal specialist. Ms. Bourne holds a certified general real estate appraisal license, as well as being a candidate for designation through the International Association of Assessing Officers. It is my recommendation to the board to appoint Ms. Bourne as the county's real estate assessor, overseeing the real estate assessment office for Louisa County.
I'll move we appoint Ms. Bourne.
A second.
Is there any discussion? And I just would add, just for the record, that she works in an office that's actually overseen by the
Yes.
Commissioner of Revenue, which is you, and does not work for the Board of Supervisors or report to the board.
Correct.
It's just the board's duty under code to make the appointment.
Yes, sir.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to
aboard.
Louisa.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next is a resolution to adopt recommendations from the Solar Committee, which will be presented by Mr. Kuhn. Mr. Barnes and I met, I don't remember what day it was last week. Wednesday or
Call it
Thursday.
Wednesday, that's amazing.
And so these are the recommendations,
It's
Solar
posted,
Committee.
right?
Yeah, it was Thursday. And in
Was it Thursday?
it was, yes, sir. Packet page 204, you can see the Solar Committee's recommendations. Key provisions here would be annual contributions. It would be 0.1% of the county's operating budget per megawatt, which would equate to $156,131.34 per megawatt per year. 25% of which would go to affordable housing. The timely development would require projects to begin within 3 years or face renegotiation of the siting agreement, the decommissioning bond, as well as the CUP. And then there's a neighbor compensation, which would require $500 per parcel annually for adjacent landowners through either tax or electricity bill abatement. I'll stand ready to answer any questions.
So I just want to make a couple comments. So the recommendation of the Solar Committee is that the board adopt these tonight as guidelines or a proposal, but also to send it to the Planning Commission so that we can codify this to be part of the county's code. But this way, this would go into effect immediately, tomorrow, I guess, and then, but also send it through the Planning Commission for a public hearing at the Planning Commission and back to the board as a public hearing here.
So, yes, sir. So this would be for all projects that have not gotten approval from the Board of Supervisors already.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
not to prolong this thing, one of the things that we felt strongly about was that the last 3 conferences that I've attended, affordable housing has been at the top of the chart. Even the governor came in to the conference last week, and the governor listed as affordable housing was his #1 concern that he think we need to address in the Commonwealth. And these siting agreements will help us get some funds where we can start doing some things once we put a plan together. Because each locality is required to have a housing plan. And once we get our plan together, it'll give us some funding to do that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
I have to second Supervisor Barnes. I think that affordable housing is a direction that our board really needs to focus in on. And I think with this siting agreement and focusing in on affordable housing and making it a point, I think it's showing that we have a commitment to our community and that it's an important issue for us.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir. Mr. Wood.
just to clarify, this is for utility scale solar projects, correct?
Yes.
Right.
And utility scale solar projects are defined as, is it 5 megawatts and more?
I think it's 5 megawatts or more.
Okay.
But this doesn't impact somebody that's putting one in their yard or something like that.
Right, or even a smaller one that's, there's certainly some that are in between what's in your backyard and 5 megawatts.
I think there's a 3 megawatt one getting ready to come up in my district. Yep.
Any other question? All right, Chair will entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded that we adopt this, the recommendations of the Solar Committee with direction to send it to the Planning Commission to begin the codification. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, sir. Next is committee reports. Mr. Woodward, I believe you have a committee report.
I do, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Just wanted to let everybody know the Commission on Aging's Christmas luncheon will be December the 6th. I think historically, and I'm not sure how far that historically part goes back, but I think quite a few years, some of the board members will come and help serve and do that type of thing. So if any of y'all are available on that day, you can just come for lunch if you'd like. That's fine too. But I think I'm going to try and be there around 9:30, 10 o'clock. Supervisor Barnes is going to provide the food again this year, so we know it'll be really good. And we hope that everybody's able to make it. That would be wonderful. The meal's supposed to be at 11. There will also be some vendors there. I see Mrs. Fletcher has left, but I think usually she is there with the table to give out information to folks about the Commissioner of Revenue's office, and maybe the treasurer and some other folks are also there like that. So from what I understand, it's a really nice event. I'm sure it is, and I'm looking forward to it.
What was the date again?
I think it's December the
6th?
5th. Yeah, I'm
Fifth?
sorry.
Thursday?
It's a Thursday, that's right.
Okay,
I've got something else on the 6th, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
I've got that on my brain, but it's the 5th.
It's at Betty Queen, right? 'Cause
It's
that's
at
where
Betty
the-
Queen,
yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
And it is a nice event. I've helped serve there before.
Yeah.
It's a nice event. They sometimes have as many as 125 people at the event, so it's a nice
I
event.
think last year was about 250.
Oh, my
Isn't that
God.
right, Fitz?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
more than that.
Yeah, it's a nice event.
Thomas has more than that.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'll be brief. I already gave a report. Some of the topics that I've really seen at conference down at VACO. Once again, mental health is not going anywhere.
It's not.
It's not going anywhere. It's still a big concern. And there were some good strategies about mental health. Last but not least, with housing, I'm not going to get into it tonight, but the siting agreement is a step in the right direction for housing. My tenure on the board, this hasn't gone to the planning commission yet, but your actions tonight has taken the largest step that I can remember toward affordable housing.
That's awesome.
And you ought to be commended for that.
Any other committee reports? Mr. Goodwin, I guess this is as good as any place. I'd like to direct staff to look at any possible revisions or updates to the county's emergency shelter ordinance and bring back recommendations to the board if there needs to be any changes on that.
Sure.
Without any objection. All right. All right, we'll move on to board appointments. Mr. Williams?
Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry, Mr. Williams. Mr. Chairman, is there any way we can ask the housing director to do a survey of county employees, schools, firefighter, whatever, and to find out if they live in the county or not? Just brief, I've got to tell you all, there are some localities that allow their police officers to take their cars like an hour and 15 minutes away because they can't find housing where they stay at. So I'm just curious to find out, do we have where our people live at?
Okay.
I'm sorry, Ms.
No, that's fine. Mr. Williams?
Mr. Chairman, I have been searching for a replacement for Mr. Weaver, and I believe I have found one finally. I would like to appoint Mr. Troy Painting to the Planning Commission from the Jackson District.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any other board appointments? Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mr. Painting is hereby appointed to the Planning Commission. County Administrator's Report, Mr. Goodwin.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I draw your attention to the monthly reports in my report that's in your packet. They are a wealth of information. We've taken the time over the years to put trend lines for every one of the major functions in the county, so I always encourage you to look at those. It's a good indicator of activity in the county, work with the things that we're working on, where the water authority stands with regard to permits and capacities, how busy the building department is, how things are going in fire and emergency services. So please do take a chance, take a moment to look at that, and feel free to ask me any questions you have, either now or offline. If I don't have the information, I'll get back to you as soon as I can on it. In addition to that, I want to let you know we've had a comprehensive safety training in both the Sheriff's Office and in Fire and EMS with our third-party insurance vendor, VACOR. They've been on site providing safety training, so that's gone very well. They were very complimentary of our procedures and the dedication that staff brought to the table during those trainings. And I do want to remind you that 5th of December time period there. That gets busy from a Christmas standpoint because we're going to light the Christmas tree on the evening of the 6th and have the parade on the 7th. And also breakfast with Santa Claus, who I hear is going to be in town, will be on the 14th of December. So please ensure that your constituents are aware of those, and that concludes my prepared remarks this evening.
Mr. Chairman, real quick, Mr. Goodwin, do you have any idea, and I'm putting you on the spot, I didn't prepare you for this one. I do know the answer, I just want to know, do you have any idea what the building permit fee for the first building at Amazon Web Services is?
I think I know it, but I don't want to say the wrong number.
It's above what and below what?
It's above 300 and,
$1,000.
yes.
For building permit?
Yes, sir.
Get out of here.
I'm not kidding.
Wow.
You talk about funding the building department and making it profitable. Yes, sir, and that's a small building. My understanding is that the next building is going to be about twice that. Is that right, Mr. Coons?
The first building is 157,000 square feet, and the second is 250, so a little bit less than twice the size.
Just an interesting tidbit, that's all. Thank you, that's all. Curious. Yeah.
Gosh, my question not nearly as interesting as that, but you did mention community development, and I noticed when I came in the building earlier today, and I only try to come in here about once a week, but the process out here seems to be moving along.
It is.
Maybe even ahead of schedule.
Or, you want to take it?
We've got reports that the building should be completed before Christmas, and then it'll just be getting the furniture and staff in place at the beginning of the new year.
Well, that's exciting.
It
What
is
was the
exciting.
original schedule? Like
February.
April? February?
For the construction completion. In March, we were planning on moving
Yeah,
in.
good, so we're about 60 days ahead of schedule.
Correct.
Good job.
No, it is. Yeah,
Congratulations.
but I noted, that wasn't a setup question. It's just, it's amazing every time you come in how
We're excited to have it
Yeah,
completed.
how
They're
fast
excited
it
to be back in here, so.
good. All right. That's the most questions you've got under county administrator's report.
Great.
Wow.
Keep them coming.
All right, next is public hearing. It's a resolution authorizing a budget supplement to Amazon Web Services Utility Infrastructure and Capital Project. I guess Mr. Wade's still here, but.
I can
Oh,
take
you're gonna take it?
introductory
Okay,
remarks.
yeah.
Yep. Mr. Chairman, Deputy County Administrator Colvin is not here this evening, so I'll take this from a financial standpoint. State Code 15.2-2207 requires a public hearing whenever the adopted budget is amended to a degree greater than 1%. So this $87.9 million would amend the budget in excess of that amount. It's for the construction of utilities and associated work, the design, et cetera, that was talked about earlier during action items. The reason that you are amending the budget is because the county will serve as the project manager and project owner. So the funding will come through the county, so it will have to be added to our budget to make those expenditures. As has been brought up earlier, the revenue portion will be funded by an outside source, that being Amazon Web Services. And Mr. Wade has already talked about the details of the project, so I won't go through that again, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I have a question. Does anybody else have a question? You go first.
Mr. Goodwin, is it fair to say that the county does have some expense in this project? The expense of actually processing the bills in the finance department and the expense of
Yes.
Mr. Wade's time in dealing with this?
Yes, that is entirely fair, sir.
Okay, I just want to be clear. Thank you.
So my question relates to the timing of the payment from Amazon versus the timing of the expense incurred by the county. What is that schedule?
So the team will be sending estimates of the coming bill in advance of us getting the monthly bill so that we can requisition those funds from Amazon in the same way that we would handle it if we were floating debt for a project. You would requisition funds in advance so that we wouldn't have to float that money from bill to bill. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
I think what you're telling me is we'll get a check from Amazon before we pay
Yes, sir.
the construction.
You said
and
it
design
better
team.
than I did. Yes.
All right,
Case, that's right.
yeah, okay. I thought we'd talked about that at one point, but I wanted to make sure of that. All right, any other questions for either Mr. Goodwin or Mr. Wade before I open the public hearing? All right, I'll open the public hearing. I do have one card, Ms. Hart. Let me get the clock up. Actually, let Scott get the clock. All right, yes, ma'am.
Ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Vicki Hart, Louisa, My only question is, I'm not opposed to the Amazon data center. My only question is, if Amazon is paying all the bills and not $1 is coming from the taxpayers, why do we need an $87,000 upfront approval if we're going to have a project cost come in and you're going to send the bill to Amazon and they're going to pay you before? Why are we here? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Because state law requires us to do that. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's a fair question.
It's
I
a
mean,
fair
if we-
question, yeah, entirely. Whenever we spend money in the budget, or whenever we spend money in the county, it is part of the budget, and we don't want to have expenditures in excess of budgeted amounts, so we amend the budgeted amounts to ensure that they can encompass the expenditures that they're going to be posted against.
So this basically, I mean, again, I'm dumbing it down for me. This basically is just a pass-through
That is exactly what it is.
allotment allocation,
That
right?
is
Just
exactly
just
what it
like if you look under, I don't know if we did it today.
right here.
But
You did a pass-through allocation under number three for
Number
insurance
three.
proceeds.
Yeah, authorize a pass-through appropriation for insurance proceeds. So it's operating the exact same way.
Yes,
But
sir.
it has to be in the budget.
That is correct.
Because state code, but it also provides transparency so that people can see where the money's coming from and how the money goes out.
Yes, sir,
All
Mr.
right.
Chairman.
I don't have any other cards. Is there anyone else? Yes, sir. Hold on, Vicky's husband's calling her. We want to make sure she gets on.
I'll take care of him later.
All right, good.
I'm sure.
William Hale, Mountain Road District. Thank you all for your service here, and Mr. Woodward and Mr. McCotter, I appreciate your stepping up and serving. Ms. Jones, I think you've been here when I've spoken before, I'm not sure. As you know, I've been somewhat skeptical of some of what I consider heedless development. I don't have any illusions that there's any way that what you've got underway now is going to be changed or stopped. It's been baked in since before the TODs were adopted. They seem to have been run in fairly quickly over the Planning Commission, and we've seen what's happened since then. There are lots of objections that people might have to this. I don't need to go into that. There's a lot of concern about us being pretty much a subsidiary of Timmins at this point, and there's a lot of question about the single source, single bid, amazing amount of money for a jurisdiction like us. All I would say is people are not going to thank you for this. The people of Louisa are not going to thank you for this. You're thrilled. As I heard Mr. Williams say, we don't even have to spend the money, they're going to do it. People are not going to thank you for that. You might think, and I understand that you're trying to do the right thing for the county. You're saddled with some pretty serious costs from residential development that were not accounted for in past decades of planning in this county, where we have a lot of land that can be developed without any say-so from the county. And you're hoping, as I heard Mr. Adams say previously, this is how we pay for the schools. When people drive on the county roads and they hear the noise and they deal with the water issues and the power issues and all those issues, they're not going to say thank you, Board of Supervisors, for getting us in this mess. I wish you the best of luck. You know, I've been on your case about it. Mr. Wade has been hearing me for years now. He even challenged me to fight out in the ante room one time. I thought he worked for me, but apparently he wanted to fight me. This is serious stuff. And isn't it amazing that Ms. Hart and I are the only people paying enough attention to say, you know, guys, this might not be the right thing. You leapt like a trout after a mayfly when the $11 billion was floated around about a year ago. Obviously, it was already in the works. There's nothing anyone can do to stop it. You know, you're going to try to do the best you can with it. But the people are not going to thank you for this, and I'm sorry.
15 seconds. Thank you. All right. Anyone else have any comments to make to the board during public comment? All right. Seeing none, I'll close public comment period. Bring this back to the board.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
On behalf of Cookie District, I'd like to make a resolution authorizing budget supplement to Amazon Web Services, Utilities Infrastructure Capital Project.
And I'll second it.
All right, properly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
briefly. I cannot sit back and not thank the talented staff members that we have that worked on the project. Christian Goodman, Chris Coombs, and Andy. Because of, without them, without their knowledge, Andy Wade and one of our team, I was in the, at the homestead, I'm not gonna call out the name, but I talked with another locality that did not have the same experience that we had with a data center. And when I told him I'm from Louisa County, he said, I heard about the job that you guys did on your data center. And I was very impressed, I was very pleased, and I'm proud of the staff that we have, what they've done for the county. And I tell people all the time, when you sit in this seat, you know, our board may not agree on everything, but one thing this board has always agreed on, what's good for the county. At the end of the day, we put anything we got aside, and we say, is this good for the county? But I just want to make sure that these staff members get their due, because they've worked very hard with us on this project.
Anybody else? Before I call for the vote, I will follow up a little bit on that. So this multi-billion-dollar project, which is a minimum of $11 billion project, probably more by the time it's finished. It's interesting to me that I hear people say to me all the time, I want my kids educated well. Louisa County Public Schools were recently ranked number 7 out of the entire state. I want a policeman there when something happens. We just approved another pay increase, a historic pay increase, and I hear from the sheriff that new recruits and applications have gone through the roof since that went into effect. We've built a new fire station. We've put in an apparatus replacement schedule. We've put in an incentive plan for our volunteers. We keep our emergency services well-funded and well-maintained with equipment. We educate our children. Those are the things that we're supposed to do. We provide for the people who are in need through human services. And I want all those things, but I want you to keep my taxes low, which I want to keep my taxes low too. And I think people need to realize there are 2 ways that local government has to fund itself. One is raise people's taxes. 2 is bring in smart economic development. And this multi-billion-dollar project is on 1,560 acres, 1,560 acres out of a 514 square mile county. I cannot think of smarter, compact economic development for this county, which will provide tens of millions of dollars of tax revenue, construction jobs for the next 17 years, and then good high-paying jobs for people in this county at complete build-out at 2040. It's interesting, a comment was made here tonight that the people won't thank us for that. I actually talked to a member of the Board of Supervisors when North Anna was being proposed, and they were adamantly against it. And his comment to me 50 years later was, thank God they didn't listen to me, because that set us on a path of a $14 million project. So while there may be concerns, I would point out that the board has went through a very rigorous process with the zoning districts. It's some of the strictest zoning we have in the county. And I will say again, I think it has been one of the best economic development decisions this county's ever had the opportunity. And I think it puts this county on a solid financial pathway for the next 40 or 50 years, long after I'm dead and gone. But it takes care of my children and my grandchildren. And I want to put that on the record, because if I drop dead tonight, my continued support and votes for this project would be the only thing you could put in that resolution that you give to my wife, that we have put this county on an economic pathway that will allow it to be financially stable for 40 or 50 years. So I don't know if we had a motion or not, because I don't normally do that.
We're going to put a lot more on there, though, Dwayne.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Did we have a motion? We did.
We
didn't
did, and I
Any further,
seconded it.
any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Barnes?
So
No,
moved.
no.
What?
We got to go back and hit 1 and 2.
Oh, yeah.
We got, Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve
we did.
resolution authorizing the execution of a comprehensive agreement, design, build contract under Private Public Education Facilities Infrastructure Act, PPEA of 2002 for new water and wastewater public infrastructures.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes unanimously.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move we award a contract to Johnson, Merriman, Thompson to perform third-party engineering construction management service for the public wastewater infrastructure.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Barnes?
So moved.
That's time for that.
Somebody give me a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Meeting's adjourned.